All right, welcome back to my channel, Fury the Northman. This is Monday's episode where we're talking about money, finances, budget, how to manipulate credit, how to pay off your debt faster, build wealth, etc., etc. In the first episode I ever put out it was supposed to be around Monday, but it actually, I think, came out the day later. Anyways, I did touch on budget, but I wanted to revisit it to give it the time that it deserves. And it's actually very important. Shockingly, at all of these money management schools that you can sign up for, I'm sure everyone's heard of Dave Ramsey. There's others like him. Whenever they do the survey at the end of the class, almost everyone, 75 to 80%, always say that what they found most helpful was the budgetary planning and just implementation of those concepts, which is kind of amazing when you think about it, because really budgets are actually very easy as long as you keep it in front of you and focus on it. Unfortunately, I think a lot of people struggle with that. I know for years my wife and I struggled with it, and that's why I wanted to revisit the budget today. I did touch on it in the first video that I put out, but I want to give it more time. So here we go. A budget is very simply put, it's a way for you to tally up what you have coming in for the month and what's coming out. The easiest way to do it, all of the money that you're going to make in the month, if you are married or you have a partner or you have someone that lives with you and you both get 2 paychecks, those 4 paychecks after taxes obviously total the amount of money that you have coming in, and then what goes against that is the amount of money you have going out. That's very simplistic, that's easy, we could stop there. But my wife and I, we actually use and/or do some slight tweaks to it. As I touched in the earlier video, we actually add about $20 per each expense item. With our budget, we actually try to not describe those items we have to pay, the water bill, the electricity, the cell phone, the internet, gas for the car, groceries, etc., etc., etc. We try to speak about them as expenses. I actually feel that when we talk about our bills and how we think about our bills, I personally feel it's a mechanism of control. I think it's a very lowbrow way for us to think about our money and how we have to spend our money and or use our money to make it work the best for us as we possibly can be. I touched on it, as I said in the last video. Some of you may have experienced this. I know I did. Some of you may have family members that behave this way, but there was a time in my life where I didn't have a lot of money. There was a time in my life where I didn't eat during the day unless I had like a bag of potato chips or something. And during that time when money was really tight, for a lot of different reasons, one of them being I just wasn't really working as hard as I should have. But during that time when I didn't have a lot of money, there were moments when I had to choose between bills, what I would pay and what I wouldn't pay. And that's a situation where your back's against the wall and you're thinking about your money, really how they want you to think about your money. And by they, I mean the bill collectors, credit lenders, credit card companies, etc., etc. They being anyone that wants your cash. You're thinking about your money from the standpoint that they really want you to, which is your back is against the wall and you owe them. Believe it or not, by creating a good, sound, strong budget and then thinking about those items you have to pay as an expense and not a bill, and the reason why I said that, which I said in the last video, business owners have expense, entrepreneurs have expenses, right? It's a higher way, it's a small thing, I understand that, but it is a higher way to think about your money than, oh God, I gotta pay my bills, oh, my water bill, that's a lowbrow way to think about your money. And you, in my opinion, if you're thinking that way about it, you aren't in control of your money. You're reacting. You're basically being told where to go, and you're trying to get there on time so you're not assessed a late fee. So, like I said, thinking about your the cost that you have in the month as a monthly expense, it's a higher way to think about it. And in actually really focusing on your budget and giving it the time that it's due, it can allow you to take control of your money and eventually get your back up off the wall so that you can start to feel better about your money and feel better about what's going on in your life and make better decisions. So much of what we do in this life is really based on how we feel and think. And we feel before we think most oftentimes as humans. So it's extremely important to set ourselves up to win. My mother always told me that. Zach, set yourself up to win. It took a long time, it finally sunk in. But by taking control of your money and really having a good budget, really thinking about it from the standpoint of money's a tool, how can I make this tool work as hard for me as possible, it will change the way you think about it. You'll want the answer. What's the best answer to this question, as opposed to, I want to go spend my money how I want to. It will change the way you think about things, and it will empower you to think better. And a side benefit to that is, once your back's up off the wall, once you're not playing the sort of, you're dodging the punches that are coming in, you're barely making it, or maybe you have a lot of money and you've financed yourself to the hilt because you got to have that brand new Audi A8 or whatever the case may be. When your back does get up off the wall, when you take control, you can then start to really focus on really the more exciting aspects of life. I think I said this in a video already, but I'll say it again. You can't ponder the stars if you're starving to eat and struggling to keep your lights on. You can't. I'll say that again. You can't ponder the stars if you're struggling to eat and keep your lights on. It's impossible. You're just stuck in survival mode. You're literally stuck in day to day, and that is no way to live. It's horrible. I've been there. I have friends that are still there, and I have friends that were there and made it out. Trust me, it's way better to be in control and/or have a greater degree of control than just the day-to-day existence. And an easy way to do that is, wait for it, a budget. Take your budget that you have, and I said this in the last video, some of this is going to be repeating. I apologize. I want to make sure that this is given the time it's due. Go buy a notebook from anywhere, Five Below, Dollar Store, Target, whatever the case may be. Go buy an actual notebook with paper. Don't put your budget on an iPad. Don't put it on a computer. Don't put it on a tablet. Don't put it on your phone. Don't put it on anything digital. Keep it in a notebook on paper that you yourself write down every single month, starting in February. If we're too far through the month right now, that's fine. Go get a notebook and start your budget in March. Start writing from there, and then compare month to month afterward. You'll find that it's extremely valuable, and it's almost like a journal or a diary in a lot of ways, but it's a financial one. But by putting your budget on a notebook, it's not only something that's much more difficult to put away. Yes, I understand you can put a notebook in a drawer. I get that, but we're so connected to our digital devices, and we're so really distracted by them. Having something as important as a budget on your iPhone, your computer, your tablet, whatever the case may be, for me, how I feel about it, maybe I'm a little too old in the way I think about things, but how I feel about it is we're putting something really important in the midst of another mechanism or obviously technology that really does a lot of things for us, and it's very easy for the white noise of our social media devices, of our electronic devices, to really drown out the importance of the budget. So, in my humble opinion, put the budget on paper. Write it out every single month. Stick to it as best as you can, and have it in a place where it's visible. I've said this already, I'll say it once, but I'll say it again. An enemy that you can see is an enemy that you have a far greater chance of engaging and conquering. If your budget's not in front of you, if you can't see it with your two eyes, you're going to be in trouble. You're going to get lost. It's not going to be good. You want to keep focused on it at all times. Again, not for the purpose of kind of being beaten down by the whip of responsibility and conservatism, not for that reason, but because by actually creating a budget, you get to exert control over your money, as opposed to you always reacting. I know that before I really started implementing a budget correctly for my wife and I, we always felt like we were reacting. We always felt like we never had enough. And we pretty much always made good money. We're not rich by any means, but together we have a good household income. But there were many years where we struggled, like we were constantly thinking, like, why am I not making it? My wife would actually say that to me. She would say, Zach, I make good money. Why aren't we successful? Why aren't we making it? And the truth is, we weren't taking the next step. The first step is earning. The next step is taking control of your money, getting a vision for it, casting vision for yourself, and creating a mechanism that can not only lay everything out for you, but also hold you accountable. We weren't really doing that. And my wife had gone through the financial peace class. My wife had done all these things. it's easy for it to slip away. It really is. So get a notebook, write your budget down, and start with, first and foremost, your rent or your mortgage. Whatever the case may be, whether you're a homeowner or you're renting, no judgments. There's a business owner in Bloomington, Indiana, where I'm from, that I'm going to interview. And he's very successful. His wife's employed. She's very successful. They don't want to own. They love the convenience of renting. They understand they're paying more, but they love the convenience of, if the water heater blows, he calls his landlord. They're there a day later and it's fixed. That's his culture. That's his life. I'm going to be interested to get more out of him when I interview him. But whether it's renting or you're owning, always have that first. Second, your car payment, if you have a car or lease, whatever the case may be. Gas for that car, then groceries, your cell phone, your light expense, your water expense. Most people don't have cable anymore. If you do, great, but pretty much all of us have internet, your internet costs. If you have life insurance, I'd encourage you to get some life insurance. Put all of those items down. And then within each one, as I said in last week's episode, I would add $5, $10 to $20 to each expense, touching back on the concept in accounting called making allowances, which, go watch the other video, but basically, if you're a business owner, 1 out of 10 companies aren't going to pay you, so by putting that into your budget, it's going to give you a stronger budget. I go over it better in the previous video. But put in the $5 to $10 to $20 per item, per expense on your budget, because what ends up happening is that when you pay everything on time, built into the budget, now you have a surplus. You have a surplus of cash that's available to you that you can use for yourself to go enjoy, or you can invest in retirement, or hopefully put it down on your debt to become debt-free. But it all starts with the budget, and it all starts with keeping the budget in front of you. One thing I would encourage you to do with the budget, people talk about this, but I don't know if they really mean it. I think a lot of people say make sure you include money for yourself. It's sort of begrudging that they have to say that, but the truth is we all work hard for our money. We all need to enjoy our money. Not to the degree that our money doesn't work hard for us, but we all need to enjoy our money. But within each of your budgets, put in a X amount of dollars that's strictly for you. Whether that's going out to eat, hitting your favorite stores, going to seeing a couple movies, hitting the bars with your friends, maybe just taking a trip, whatever the case may be, put an X amount of dollars in your budget for you that's on top of the other budgetary items that have that $5 to $10 to $20 surplus built in, because the money that you put and set aside for you will actually be money that you can enjoy for yourself, and while also keeping you accountable, coupled with you've built in a cushion. The reason why I want people to, because we do it, to build in a cushion for themselves is that most likely you're going to make a mistake every single month. It'll either be a small mistake or it'll be a big one. I'll just be transparent with you right now. My wife and I, for whatever reason, we didn't pay the water bill for 2 months. One aspect of it was she somehow got kicked out of her account. She couldn't make a new one. She had to call somebody to get it all reset up. Yada, 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 you know how that goes. We could have done it sooner, but life happens. We have 2 kids, we both work. We're busy people. Probably like you, you're a busy person. Things come up. But even for a family like us, where we, as a household, we make pretty good income, we were behind on our water bill 2 months. Trust me when I tell you, we had to pay those late fees. But my point is, by building in that cushion into each budgetary item, each expense, when you make a mistake, and you'll probably have the cash to absolve the late fee you're going to get charged, or whatever the case may be, and it's really not going to be a problem. It's going to be frustrating, but it's not going to be financial calamity. I used to work at a bank years ago, and I met hundreds of people, literally every week, who would come in and they would say, "Oh my God, my account overdrafted because I paid my light bill." They said bill. $63 or $100, and I overdrafted. I'm thinking to myself, holy cow, like how's it even possible? What's going on? And it was because other things came up that they had to spend, and their money was so tight, right? It was wound so tight and so close, razor's edge, that if there was any misstep in any way, they were out. They were going to struggle, and you really don't want to be in that spot, because when that happens, it's really difficult to dig yourself out of that. It's exceptionally difficult. There's a lot of reasons for that. Banking policy is one of them. We're going to go into that later in different videos. But again, not only put in the excess to each budget item, but also add that money for yourself. You can actually enjoy for yourself. Whatever amount that is, whether that's $100, $200, $500, wherever you're at income-wise, make a set amount of money available to you for you and your spouse, you and your partner, you and your kids, or just you to enjoy. Strictly for you to enjoy. You work hard for your money. You should be allowed to enjoy it. And you should enjoy it to the fullest. But like I said, you want to have it laid out in front of you. Put it on paper. Write it down every single month. Don't type it up and then it's deleted or it's a note. Don't do that. Write it down every single month. Make it a book. Make it a journal. Make it a diary for you that you can go back over the years. Because one thing that you'll find that my wife and I have found that I absolutely love is you'll go back into old months and old years, months and years that have gone by. We all get older, it's sad. But you'll see old debts and old expenses that you no longer have because you paid them off. And it's like, man, we did that. That's awesome. And it's exciting to remember those wins. I can't tell you how excited we were the day we paid off my wife's student loans. We were ecstatic. That was a $550 a month bill. See, we were thinking bad back then. That was a $550 a month expense that, when we got off our plate, we had $550 extra, a month. Best believe we went to Sizzler. We had a good time. Maybe even Ruth's Chris. The point is, when you write it down and make it a physical, tangible, pen to paper, pencil to paper mechanism where you're using your body to write it down and think about it, it's going to sink in deeper than if you're typing it in or talking it in to some digital device. It just is. And again, it's easier to track it. It's also, for me, maybe again, I'm thinking about it old school, but it feels more powerful. It feels more tangible. But it all starts with you creating a budget every single month. So if you haven't done one for February, start February right now and write out everything that you have to spend your money on to live. Write it all out, have that amount at the bottom, and then to the top right, have the amount of money that you make monthly. Put what you make, subtract what you owe or what you have to spend your money on, and go from there. You'll immediately, overnight, you'll feel far better. Even if you don't have a lot of money left over, even if maybe you're negative, you'll still feel better because you're starting to take steps towards control. You're starting to take steps towards exerting your will over your money with a very simple concept of using a budget to not only cast vision for what's going to happen monthly, but hold you accountable and ultimately hold your money accountable. I know that sounds a little strange, but really, holding ourselves and our money accountable is very powerful. You've probably experienced where your money's gotten away from you, or you've gotten away from your money, or whatever the case may be. By having that focusing agent that is the budget, it makes it much more difficult for that to happen. And then the next step, after we create our budget and we create a system where we're focused on it every single month, the next step is what is the best way, that's probably the better way to say it, what is the best way to pay those monthly expenses? That's coming next Monday. I can't wait to get that for you. I'm pumped. Guys, I'm so excited. Thank you for coming back. If you like the content, if you like the material, like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Let's build wealth together. Let's go.